Max Blumenthal mentioned yesterday on the show about this guy, Thomas Massie, who's a Republican who wanted everybody to vote, come to Washington, D.C., and he said, hey, if everybody at Ralph's and UPS and FedEx and the mail and the post office, have all those people have to work. They all have to go into work. Why shouldn't we have to go into work and vote, meaning Congress? And so people went nuts. And so anyway, he's telling the truth about this bill. He tweeted this out. The stimulus package that just passed is the biggest wealth transfer from common folks to the super rich Wall Street and bankers in the history of mankind. Done in the name of a virus, with $1,200 checks as the cheese in the trap. This will be obvious in short order. So to all the people on Twitter and all the people in the comment sections of the YouTube videos who say things like, what could Bernie do? His hands were tied. He's only one guy. I'm pretty sure that was his campaign slogan when he ran for Senate. Vote for me, but what could I do? I'm just one guy. And then to all the people who say, well, Bernie, if he would have done anything, the media would have slaughtered him, saying he was holding up the bail. So I think that was his campaign slogan, vote for me, I'll do the right thing, unless the media will attack me for it. I'd like to do the right thing. I'm just one guy, and what if the media attacks me for it? I'll do the right thing when it's easy and when the media won't attack me for it. Is that why you guys voted for Bernie? I don't think so. And to all the people saying, I literally, there's comments by grown-up people on Twitter saying, yeah, the government, the Republicans were holding a gun to our head, but we have to eat. What if we don't eat? No, you're supposed to go take the gun away from my head. And why don't the progressives hold a gun to the corporation's head? Why didn't the progressives put a hold on this bill in the Senate and hold a gun to the corporation's head? And say, you put UBI and Medicare for all. We are getting health care for Americans right now. Why don't they do that back? They'll never do it. They'll never do it. They're going to scream and rant about this bill, and then they all fucking voted for it. And now Trump can say to everybody in any debate or any campaign, what are you fucking talking about? 96% of you, 96 to nothing, it passed. You all voted for it. What are you talking about? If it's so horrible, why'd you all, not one person voted against it? And the cheese, that $1,200 check that everybody's saying we have to have, is the cheese in the trap. So you're going to get your head smashed in for a temporary $1,200 payment. And I understand people are desperate and scared. That's why the progressive leadership should right now, I'm talking Tulsi Gabbard, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and whoever else wants that they can, Ro Khanna, Ayanna Pressley, whoever else considers themselves a real progressive. They should try to be rallying them. And they should be sending out letters saying we're going on a rent strike and a mortgage strike. That's what they should be doing right now. Because the writing's on the wall. A $1,200 check isn't going to do anything. And as Dylan Radigan said on this show, I said, well, at least they're not stealing people's houses this time. And he says they're going to as soon as they can. As soon as they can kick you out of your house, they're going to kick you out of your house. So right now, what the progressive movement should be doing is organizing a rent strike and a mortgage strike right now. In California, they just got the banks to give us a 3-month moratorium. Now, Steph, you were reading something earlier today that said after that 3-month moratorium, what did they say?
Okay, so my sister checked out her mortgage at the credit union here in California, and they said that after 3 months, you will now have to compensate fully for that amount. How is that helping me?
So wait a minute, explain it.
So they're going to give me a break for 3 months, but on the fourth month,
they're going to give you a break by saying that When you say they're going to give you a break, what do you mean?
Well, they're making it sound.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
They're not going to make me pay for 3 months of
Oh,
my
so
mortgage.
you don't have to pay that mortgage?
Fourth
or
month.
you have to pay all
Pay it
3
all.
months plus that fourth month.
How does that help me?
So that doesn't, so they're not giving you a break. That's not a break. And so right now, all the progressive leaders, I keep getting emails every day. I get 3-4 emails a day because I donated to Democratic candidates. And so now Act Blue and everybody has my email and say, I get emails from everybody. I got emails from Ilhan Omar today. I get emails from Bernie Sanders. I get emails from AOC. I got emails from Elizabeth Warren. I get emails from a lot of people every day. And not one of them is saying anything useful. Not one of them has an idea on how to address this crisis. Not one of them. They're all touting all the good stuff they got in the bill. And can you please, well, here, what should be happening right now is there should be some kind of a plan by the progressive leadership. The plan that I'm suggesting is that they start sending their emails to all their people, and we start saying we're going to have a general strike. First, we're going to do a rent strike, and then we're going to do a mortgage strike, and then we're going to do a general strike until we get a UBI and Medicare for all. If we don't get that out of this unbelievable fucking screwing, then the progressive, we're fucking dead. We're a right-wing country to the hilt anyway. We got private prisons. We got private health care that leaves 30 million people out. We're the world's biggest penal colony. We're doing a bailout to the richest 1% again. We did it twice in 12 years. We have militarized police departments all over we spend trillions of dollars on bombs for imperialism. We are an unbelievably terroristic right-wing country. And right now, whatever is left of the left is doing nothing. They're fucking telling people I had to vote for this, and everybody's running around going, thanks. Thank you, everybody. And the progressive news space is failing. They're running propaganda for the progressives. There are no heroes right now. There are a bunch of progressives not doing a fucking thing. Not even an idea. No one's calling out Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer for engineering this bill. Nobody's calling them out for not having a voice, for having a voice vote instead of everyone's vote being counted and recorded. No one's calling out the Democratic leadership for this. Everyone's pretending that this is 100%. What the Democratic leadership did was give a $4 trillion slush fund to Donald Trump with no oversight. A guy who they say is working for Putin. They just did that, and they could have stopped it. They didn't even try not to. They didn't even vote against it. They didn't even vote against it. We got to have a rent strike. We got to have a mortgage strike. We got to have a general strike. And if if your progressive leaders aren't calling for that, then you know that they have been fucking had. Because every progressive who is a Democrat bends the knee to the Democratic Party. Every one of them. They all voted for Nancy Pelosi as Speaker, and now Nancy Pelosi is fucking you with this bill. Oh no, Nancy Pelosi tried to get all this stuff in the bill. She wrote all that stuff in a way that she knew would never get it in the bill. And then she didn't have anybody get recorded for this vote. And no one is going to be held accountable for passing this. No one. That's why they had a voice vote in the House. So no one could be held accountable for this. I had a headline on a video saying AOC screams against stimulus, then votes for it. And people are saying, how do you know she voted for it? Because Nancy Pelosi made sure it was a voice vote. And was she screaming about the voice vote? Was she calling out Nancy Pelosi? If she voted against it, I would, please, if she could tweet that, I would love to correct the record. But as far as I know, every Democrat supported this. No matter what grandstanding speeches you saw, they did nothing to oppose this or stop this. They wouldn't even call out their own leadership over it. This is a Republican. The $1,200 checks you're getting is the cheese in the trap. And what happens when the mouse tries to grab the cheese? That's what happens. Get your fucking head smashed in. And that's what's coming. So when I turn on Democracy Now! And I see Ilhan Omar in a very calm way saying, well, this is why I support the bill, and she's not screaming her head off, I know there's something wrong. And I guess they don't realize what's coming. I guess they really don't realize what's coming. Do they not realize what's coming? They kicked 5.1 million families out of their house the last time this happened. Families. 5.1 million families, not people, families, out of their house in the middle of an economic collapse. That's what Barack Obama did. In the middle of an economic collapse, they kicked 5.1 million families out of their house. You don't think that's coming again? $1,200 doesn't pay anybody's rent in New York or Los Angeles. I'll fucking tell you that right now. And the banks are getting paid twice. The banks are getting your rent and your mortgage, and the banks are also getting $1 trillion a day. And you're suckers if you believe your progressive media that tells you there's heroes on the left in this fight. There aren't any. There are no heroes. It is stunning to watch progressive media fall down on the job on this. It is stunning. But thanks again for leaving the huge lane open. What should be happening right now is they should be organizing a rent strike, a mortgage strike, and then a general strike. Why isn't everybody telling the grocery workers to stay home until we get Medicare for all? That's what I would be doing if I was a labor leader. If I was a labor leader, I would say all my grocery workers stay home until we all get $20 an hour because you know we're essential workers. And Medicare for all. How about that?
What's their hazard pay?
I would tell every FedEx driver, every Amazon worker, I would tell everyone, stay home. All you got to do is tell Amazon workers this. You don't even need anybody else. If you could get grocery workers and Amazon workers to stay home for fucking 2 days, this country is shut down. And then we get Medicare for all and we get a UBI. And if we don't get that out of this crisis, I'm moving to fucking France and putting on a yellow vest. And if I see the progressive media run fucking interference for their progressive leaders who are actively falling down on the fucking job and doing grandstanding bullshit speeches, I will call them out by name. It's fucking ridiculous what's going on right now. They are laying down and letting the boot of fucking fascism kick them in the face. And they're saying, I got no other choice. They won't even fight. A little. 96-0 it passed. They won't even fight a little. Right now, they're saying that Andrew Cuomo should be president. Andrew Cuomo, who is right now, today, in the middle of a pandemic where thousands of people are dying in his city, today, because there aren't enough hospital beds because of Andrew Cuomo. Today, the Democrats are saying he should be president, and today he is blocking $9 billion in aid to his city in the middle of this pandemic. Andrew Cuomo is blocking $9 billion in aid to his city right now, and people are saying he should be president. That's what's fucking happening today. And I got fucking Democrat Party apologists coming at me for saying this. In the middle of the biggest fucking that's ever happened to America, I'm supposed to shut up. Democratic Party apologists are doing that all over the place to me. Everybody shut up. 96-0 this passed the Senate. And if you don't think someone sold you out on that, you're a fucking chump. And you should be screaming at your progressive leaders for not standing up for you. Why aren't they organizing right now a rent strike? Why aren't they organizing right now a mortgage? Why don't we fucking fight back? Why don't we fight back? You see, we got them by the balls. Every labor leader out there sees that we have them by the balls. Every labor leader sees that. Every labor leader sees that we have them by the balls. Who is essential? The postman, the UPS driver, the FedEx driver, the Amazon worker, the grocery store employee. Those are the essential workers. The pharmacist. Those are essential employees in the United States. And all this should all go on a fucking strike until we get Medicare for all and a UBI. And no one's telling them to do that because we have no leaders. Because the best we can get is someone who bends his knee to the fucking Democratic Party and the DNC at every turn. That's what we got. That's not leadership. Here's an idea. Next time I get a fucking email from a progressive organization or a campaign or a cocksucking politician asking me for money, it should include we're going on fucking general strike or a rent strike or a mortgage strike or some kind of an idea on how to fucking fix this problem because they don't have any. In fact, all they're doing is telling us all the great shit they got done and they got nothing done. Trump and Mnuchin are laughing their fucking heads off. And so is Kamala Harris. Because Kamala Harris was supposed to prosecute that motherfucker and she didn't. They're laughing at you. They're laughing at Bernie Sanders and AOC and Ayanna Press. They're laughing. They're like, watch, we're going to get them all to support it. They're all, don't worry. No one's going to stop this. None of them. No. In fact, they're all going to go on TV and tell you why they had to vote for it.
Where'd they all go for 3 weeks now? Where are they?
They're all at home in their apartments. There's nowhere to fucking go. So that's what we should be doing right now. Guess what? They're not going to do that because the Democratic leadership doesn't want Bernie to say that. And they don't want AOC to say that. And they don't want Ilhan Omar to say that or Ayanna Presley or Tulsi Gabbard. They don't want them saying that or Ro Khanna or Sherrod Brown, anybody or Elizabeth Warren. They won't say this and they won't call for this because Nancy Pelosi won't let them. Why do you think they all voted for this? Because Nancy Pelosi told them to. Why did Nancy Pelosi negotiate a better bill? Because Nancy Pelosi is your enemy. Why did they vote for them? Because they're all part of the fucking party. That's why. Why was I calling for a third party 4 years ago? So we didn't get in this fucking situation. And here we are. There's no opposition. None. There's no opposition to this. None except bullshit grandstanding speeches. And then I get fucking my email gets flooded. My inbox gets flooded with progressive politicians bragging about all the shit they got in this bill. This is what this bill is. Whatever they're bragging about they got you the cheese that's in the trap that's going to get your head fucking smashed in. Tell me how much they're thankful for your progressive politicians when you get kicked out of your fucking house in 3 months. What is the point of having progressives in fucking power when they don't exercise it ever? What is the point? Well, they have to vote for Nancy Pelosi as leader because we'd get someone worse. What? What the fuck? I voted for you so you could go cement Nancy Pelosi to be in power? What is the point? You know who else asked this question? What is the point? This was back last fall. Progressives in Congress just capitulated on the Patriot Act. It's time to push back. If the Congressional Progressive Caucus won't stand up to the military surveillance complex, what is the point? What is the point? He was saying this last fall. The progressives in Congress just capitulated on the Patriot Act. Time to push back. The progressives voted for it. The progressives. The squad. And my question to all of you right now, what was the point of electing them? What's the point? If the Congressional Progressive Caucus won't stand up to the military surveillance complex, what's the point? There is no point. Norman Solomon's right. There is no point. And I feel like a chump once again. I doubted my own fucking self from 4 years ago. No, maybe something's happening. Maybe they'll be, maybe, I don't know. Everybody tells me I'm wrong. Everybody tells me that everybody tells me I got to work within the Democratic Party. Everybody tells me, and here we are, the biggest fleecing in the history of mankind. And it's being voted, and it's being facilitated by the Democrats. And so fuck anybody who ever tells me again that you got to vote blue. Fuck anybody and your stupid, bad political instincts and your capitulating fucking manner and your cowardly approach to politics. Thank you, sir. Can I have another approach to politics? Fuck you. Fuck you. Go brag about the cheese. Go brag about the cheese right before the fucking the trap slams down their fucking heads. You and your takeover of the Democratic Party, and you all fucking vote for this shit. How is that takeover of the Democratic Party going, by the way? How is that going? Hey, this is the part where I tell you where our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then I would tell you to go join our premium, but nobody has a fucking job. So why don't you just enjoy the video?